Hello and welcome to this information video for transgender musicians. Quick disclaimer, all info provided in this video is based on my personal experience. A brief reskim of this book, Teaching Kids to Sing by Kenneth H. Phillips, and a techniques course I took like 3 years ago. So anything I say that is inaccurate or potentially incorrect, please feel free to correct me on that. It's been a while and I'm a pianist before I'm a singer. So, forgive me for that. And a quick warning, I will be mentioning some musical jargon later, so if you don't know a whole lot about music, then I apologize. I do try to explain the complicated words, but sadly I'm not a dictionary. So, sorry about that in advance. So, that out of the way, hello, hi, welcome to this video. Call me Shippo, Ship, Matt, whatever you like. I'm open to pretty much anything. So, yeah. Anyways, I'm here to tell you what exactly can happen to your voice when you start taking testosterone and how that will affect your singing as your voice transforms from one beautiful butterfly into another beautiful butterfly. Anyways, first thing changes you can expect. 1, obviously your range is going to change. I mean, if you didn't see that one coming, yeah, the highest and lowest pitches that you could sing before are not going to be the same once you start taking testosterone, once your voice has finished changing. So, but I'm going to be talking a little bit more about ranges later because they come into play in some future points. Number 2, change you can expect is your voice will tire very, very quickly. It's natural, it's normal, and all boys, when they go through adolescence, experience this when they are singing. It happens because any guy who goes through puberty, their voice changes a lot. And singing with a new voice, the same way you were trying to do it before, it's like trying to walk a straight line after singing around. Like, you can do it, but it's a lot harder without practice. You need to wait for it to stabilize, for it to stop changing, and then, you'll be fine. There are loads of adults out there who can sing just fine after puberty, male or female. So, at that point, it's just a waiting game. And change number 3, probably one of the scariest for a lot of transgender musicians, is your timbre will change. What is timbre? It is the quality or the specific sound that your voice makes, like soft, harsh, screaming, smooth, whatever. It's how you tell different instruments apart. Their timbre is different, therefore they sound like different things. Probably not a great explanation, but that's more or less what it is. Male voices and female voices obviously have different timbres, because even when you put a guy's voice through like one of those transposition filters, it still doesn't sound like a female. Same thing if you take a girl's voice and put it through a transposition filter, it doesn't usually sound like a guy singing. It sounds like someone's put it through a transposition filter. But that's something that's going to happen, because that's the way it is. The reason for that is because males and females have different singing techniques, and that affects your timbre. If you sing differently, you sound different. That's hopefully something that you would expect, when your voice is changing, do not expect to keep the exact same timbre you had before. As beautiful as it sounds, you're going to have to expect something new and adapt to your voice. Because if you try to keep the exact same timbre you had when you had a higher voice, you're going to end up hurting yourself, and don't do that. But yeah, even though your voice is changing, doesn't mean that you have to stop singing and sounding great. It just means that you'll have to do something a little bit differently. Not a huge problem, I should hope. But yeah. Anyways, next I have a few practices you can do to keep yourself sounding wonderful through the beautiful transformation of your voice. Just keep in mind that these practices should be continued throughout the entire change. And I mean, if you don't, then I guess you don't. But for a maximum positive effect on your voice, it should go through the entire transition, the entire voice change, and, keep them afterwards, because, I mean, they're just not a bad idea. And, I mean, anyone who's a musician, discipline, self-motivation, you should be fine. So, first practice to always do is start with a warm-up. If you don't, it's going to hurt your voice. It's going to make you tired, and you're not going to be able to practice for very long. So, during your voice change, always start with a warm-up. And if you already have one, great, keep doing it. Breathing exercises are good, diction exercises are good, but what I think from my own personal experience, the most important ones are range exercises and vocal resonance. I hope you know what those are, because I don't want to explain them. So just do a couple of simple warm-up exercises before you start singing. For example, a descending fifth pattern, or do, re, mi, fa, sol, whatever you're used to. Just make sure that you push your range to the comfortable limit on both ends, so upper and lower. For example, lower, you could do the descending fifths if you look at my piano. Stuff like that. Until it reaches the point where you are comfortable stopping. If you're getting into the vocal gritty area, I mean, just stop when that starts. If you push your voice too hard, that's bad for it. And same thing with going into the upper register. If your voice starts to feel tired or airy, stop, because you're not helping yourself by, first of all, practicing stuff that sounds bad, and potentially, harming yourself a little bit by constantly singing in a range that your voice is not used to and is fighting against. If it feels uncomfortable, don't do it. Second, don't sing all that loudly. When your voice is changing, it's changing a lot. It's not used to, I guess I should backtrack a little bit. When you're singing loudly versus softly, it's not a matter of how fast your vocal cords are vibrating. It's a matter of how wide they're going apart when they're flapping against each other. So singing softly, they're only flapping a little bit, which is nice. It's a lot less work for your vocal cords than singing loudly where they're flapping really, really wide apart. That's a lot harder for them, obviously. It takes more energy, it's a lot more work, tires you out faster, and that means you can't practice as long. It can also potentially hurt you if you do it too much. So singing softly, at least until your voice has stabilized, is in your best interest. So keep that in mind. Number 3. This one's going to be a long explanation. Your range. There are certain parts of it that are absolutely great, work on them. And certain parts where you absolutely don't do it. Absolutely do not work on it. There are 3 parts of each for male and female range. The most important one that you need to think about is your chest voice. For females, that's the lower half of the range, ranging from about the G here, below middle C, to the C up here, above middle C. That's where most pop singers sing. That's where most people find it comfortable. So you're probably really used to that one. For males, it's the vast majority of their range after their voice has changed. Pretty much anything below the E around middle C, that's a male's chest voice. Anything lower than that, usually. It changes a bit from person to person, but that's an average. This will be your comfy range. This is the majority of what you're going to be doing with your new voice. So practice it, get comfortable there. And learning pitches, again, just repeating them over and over and over again, doing scales or whatever, will help you remember the pitches, because obviously it's going to be different they're going to be in a different spot from where you're used to. And like from personal experience, any part of that range that you practiced pre-T, any low range that you had, is going to be super easy to find even post-T. Like, if you wanted me to find anything from like the D in the middle of the bass clef up, I can still do it, no problem, even though it's in a different spot. Much lower than that, I rarely got down to those notes, so it's a little bit harder, but I mean, I've only been on T for like 2 months. So, practice will help. I'm getting there, so you can get there too. Because I'm not a singer, I'm a pianist. You're better than me, so you can do it, I believe in you. Anyways, that was the first part of the range, chest voice. Practice that. Good. Very good. Always practice your chest voice. It's wonderful, and that's where you're going to sound the best, most likely. Second part of the range is your head voice. That is the part of the range that makes you sound like an opera singer. Sorry, head voice is what it's called when you have a female range. When you have a male range, it's called falsetto. You're probably more familiar with that term. So you can get that by opening your throat and lifting the soft palate at the back of your mouth, going, oh, or whatever it sounds like when someone who sounds good is singing. You can practice in this range, but I would recommend practicing there sparingly and for like short amounts of time, because being in a higher range, it will tire you out faster because your vocal cords will have to vibrate faster. Higher range, vibrate faster. Louder, vibrate more. You want to avoid those more while your voice is changing, and then build them up again once your voice has stabilized. Again, I'm not saying you can't practice your falsetto during the voice change, but practice it less because you will get tired faster, and if you get tired and keep practicing, you will likely hurt yourself, which is bad. So you can practice it short. And the third part of your range, the passacaglia, or mixed voice, as it's called, is that area in between, that gray area of range in between your chest voice and your head voice. Do not practice it. In the male range, it's basically non-existent. It's like 3 or 4 notes. In the female range, it's a good solid fifth or so. So you guys might be used to singing there. That's great. After about a month or so on T, when you start to notice the voice change, stop practicing it. Because to reach your mixed voice or your passacaglia, you're actually singing with the very edges of the vocal flap. And during the voice change, like, these are a totally different shape. They're a totally different everything. It's an uncoordinated muscle. Wait until it is stabilized before you start practicing it again. You will very likely hurt yourself if you keep trying to practice it, and you'll just end up with a terrible sound. You won't like it, and that's probably a lot of the reasons why people say they've lost their voice when they've gone on T. But, I mean, I'm not them. I don't know. They know more about themselves than me, so don't take my word for it. Number 4 is very, very important. Wait. Wait until your voice has stabilized before building stamina, before building volume, and before practicing certain parts of your range. This gets a separate point only because it's really important, and I've repeated it in like every other point. Wait until your voice has stabilized. Then start practicing the way you're used to. Because if you practice the same way you always have when your voice is changing, your new voice is weak. It's new. It needs time to build up its strength, so give it time to build up its strength and stop being all crazy and hormonal. I mean, like, you get the idea. Wait for it to be stable and finished with whatever the heck is going on with it before you start trying to build it up, because you don't want to build up something when it's, like, you don't want to... I don't even know a good metaphor for this. If you've got a tumbly sea with your sailboat, you don't want to, like, you don't want to climb up the mast to hang the flag when the sea is all rocky and bumpy and gross in the middle of a storm. Wait till the storm has stopped, then put up your flag and strengthen your ship that way. I don't know. Bad metaphor. Hopefully you get the idea. And yeah, last point on practicing is to practice. Keep singing through the voice break. Maybe it'll sound squeaky sometimes. Maybe you'll have good days and bad days. That's normal. Just keep singing and keep practicing, and you'll get used to your new voice because you've kept doing it. So it's been it's a gradual change every day, so much that you barely even notice it. Keep singing through the break, keep practicing, and you'll have the easiest time than if you just start, if you like practice, start taking T, stop for a year, and then come back to your new voice that's like an octave and a half lower. You're gonna have such a hard time. Sing through the break, sing through the break and stay comfy while you're doing it, because otherwise you're just gonna have a bad time. It's gonna be a lot harder. So keep singing, and you'll have a much easier time. And yeah, one last thing I mentioned about voice stabilizing. Again, that's something I learned from this book. Beautiful book. Lots of good stuff in there, but I don't know if you'd actually want to go buy it. That's why I'm summing up some of the stuff in this video. Your voice will stabilize after approximately 6 to 12 months. 6 to 12 months on T. It's different from person to person. That's why it's such a wide range. So, yeah, and your voice, after 6 to 12 months, that's when your voice stops dropping and settles into where it's going to stay. You'll know that it's stabilized when the pitch goes down, and then back up a little bit. And then it stops. Going back up a little bit is not you returning to female. It is your voice stabilizing. So it is a good thing. And it happens to every single guy out there, regardless of like being born male or not. So that's how you know it's stabilized. That's how you know you can start doing, like, building yourself back up to where you used to be. Your voice won't sound the same, but it'll still sound absolutely fantastic. I hope this helped some of you guys out there who have started taking T and are like, oh no, what do I do? Or even has just been a video for those of you pre-T to watch and be like, I don't know what I want to do. So, hope it helps somebody out there. If I got something wrong, let me know. If you have your own tips, leave them in the comments. Just anything you like. Thanks for watching, and keep sounding awesome.